Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Robert Phoenix, with your Astro Weather cat. There she is, Miss Peachy. The little ray of sunshine to start your day. Here she is. How is everyone? Wherever you are, whether you're just starting your day or wrapping it up, hope it's been a good one, and I hope you will experience a very good one. Today's sunrise photo brought to you by viewer Evan Grimm, and that's from his part of the world. So just if you want to send me a photo, if you catch a good sunrise photo, astrophoenix@gmx.com is the place you want to send your photos. And if they're a decent photo, I'll put it right up there. So this is a little communal participation, as it were. So welcome to the show. Let's see, who do we have here today? My man, right at the top, Michael Sisternino, DJ MC in the house. Brother, what's going on? Catherine Rosen. Yes, the community is brilliant. I agree with that. Christina Jerzik in the house. Ask Scott for his sunrise picture this morning. All right, Scott, send it on. Bring it on. California Contrarian, the double K. What's happening? The Queen of Speed is in the house. Big hugs back. Jackie Delario. I just love saying that name. Another sunny day in South Jersey. Hey, it's starting to get a little chilly out here. Getting chilly out here in old Texas. There's Scott. Scott, bring that sunrise picture on. Susie Gemini. What's happening? We got another Sue right behind that. Sue Leonard and then Susie Gemini. It's a Susie Sue sandwich. Lynn's checking in. Ola from Panama. 200 inches of rain. Holy smokes. It's a lot of rain. Jeez. Misbehaving too. 49 in Florida. Uh-oh. Get your sweaters on. Janice Phillips. Janice, I'll get back to your email. I will go through your questions per your reading. By the way, if you are over on Locals, I have launched the Black Monday specials for 4 different readings. So if you're a Locals member, that means you just sign up for Locals. You're just there, right? Free. Easy to do. Get a 5% discount on 4 readings. We're featuring the Everything reading, the Deep Natal, the Transit Report, and Star of the Day. If you want one, as you're going to get as a gift. If you're a supporting member, you get 15% off of those 4 readings. So pretty significant discount, to be honest with you, if you go into the supporting member side. So everybody gets a little bit of something, right? A little bit of something. So there you go. Go on over to Locals and sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you like the content here, you can support this content by becoming a supporting member. Only $11 a month. And it helps defray some of these expenses that I incur, such as paying for StreamYard, which is, I don't use free StreamYard. I use the second highest version of it, paying for Zoom, which I have to use from time to time. Also paying for Boxcast and also the cable. These costs mount up. And so your support is very helpful in that regard. Also, you can buy me a cup of coffee if you like as well. And for those of you who purchased a cup of coffee or more than just 1 cup, I thank you for that. Mr. Gray No More is here. Big Dave Sullivan. Janine. What's happening, Janine? Tom Jordan, literally in the house. Moira, 32. In the Big Apple. Got to make some apple pie. Nice warm apple pie in the Big Apple. Janice Phillips back again. Checking in with 48 degrees in Southeast Oklahoma. My man Steve Thor at the door is with us. Ryan, the introspective woodworker, is here. Greetings, Ryan. Darlene, road trip 1981. There she is, saving Austin one tooth at a time. The lovely and talented one. Let's see. Lynette Jardine, Mad Maxine with a new set of wheels. Look out, Salem, Oregon. Laura E, sunny, 17-degree morning. Ooh, that's chilly. We got rain in McKinney, according to Liddy Lou. There you go, right there. There's the link. You can sign up, become a member, catch that 5% discount. Those 4 separate services that are there. Who else we got? Artist Sear driving back to Florida from Arizona. Yes, may the starlight, and not just the starlight, but the traffic gods be with you. Did you guys hear this story from, it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I was headed to Austin, and it was a 2-lane road. Let's see, you may have heard, some of you may have heard this. I'm going to share it anyway. That's why it's really important to listen. So 2 lanes going this way, 2 lanes coming this way, right? And I'm in the fast lane. And all of a sudden, I get this sense, I think I should pull over to the other lane. 15 seconds later, there is a car that is trying to pass multiple cars in the lane outside of it, which was the fast lane in my direction. So that car is literally passing me, right? It's going past me in the fast lane that I was in. And I realized, holy shit, I was just in that lane about 15 seconds ago. So when you're out there and you're traveling, tune in that inner ear. 28 in Salem, defrosting my car. Not just any car. Let's see who else we have. Rainbows and butterflies. Barbara Boots can't stay the whole time, running off to do errands. I'm glad that you announced your arrival and your departure, Barbara. That's very, very polite of you. Cassandra Lynn is here. Neil Smith from Wisconsin. Did I say hello to Mr. Gray no more? If not, hello, Mr. Gray no more. Harry Bowie, hey, Moon Sprout Kelly. Yesterday's 15 minutes, awesome. I could relate. Oh, we got more coming today in 15 minutes. We got more coming. Sandra Wells in the house. What's up, cuz? DJ Pebblestone, TDF, fun photo. I like this photo. It's warm. It's warm, but it's kind of a little desolate. You got the highway sign over here, right? You got the power lines in the background, taking power, communication, whatever it is, to the houses out in the rural area. I love this photo. Claire is here. Hi, Claire. I think right around this year, Kelly, everybody's ready to live somewhere warm. Hello, the Muse Memorandum is in the house. JJ, I'm getting back to you today. I got you covered. Just want to let you know. All right. Yes, please hit the like. And if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and do that. We picked up 100 new people since Saturday night. How about that? Or Sunday night. Steve Zerlith, Immortal. Lurk, great show with Raw last night. Yeah, it was fun. That was cool. I enjoyed hanging out with Raw. Maria d'Ange, bonjour tutti. Right back. Valeria Rubens. Hi, Valeria. And Melissa Stanton. All right. I think I've satisfied my need to say hello, good morning, and wake up a bit in the meantime. So let's get into the weather. I'm not sure if I can be as economical as yesterday, but let's see if the spirit of the Capricorn moon can still compel me. All right, here we go. We got that Sun-Mars trine. Still have Mars getting ready to station. It's stationing now, and we're getting ready to move backwards. That Mars and Leo. Ooh. Mars and Leo, a test of courage. Yes, a test of courage. When all things seem to be daunting and dark, and Mars retreats backwards, all the way into Cancer as the crab retreats into its shell. It's going to be a very interesting time. I wonder if we're going to be on some kind of just like complete overload. You know what I mean? Maybe this is really what this Mars retrograde is about. That there are events that are just kind of cascading around us, and it's like, I'm going back to bed. I'm pulling the covers back up. I'll see you in a couple hours, right? Because Mars has had this great momentum. You know, Mars and Leo, the lion that roars, but then the lion wants to go back to bed. Go back into that cave, Mr. Lion. Chill out. Do they have caves in Africa? I don't know if they have caves in Africa. I think they just kind of crawl back under a tree or something. But we still have it. It's stationing. And I think when you get into a planet that stations, I think it's a good time to assess, right? It's a time for assessment. Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your energy? I think this is an important question, especially with Leo. Are you doing the things you love? You doing the things you love? And the answer to your question may be no. And that's a valid answer to your question. Well, let's wind the clock back and take Mars back into Cancer. How does that impact the question you just asked? Well, Mars retrograde Cancer, you can retreat and say, you know, I really would love to do this thing, but I don't have the money, the wherewithal, perhaps the equipment, the utensils. Let's say you want to be a cake maker, but you really want to make cakes. And by making cakes, you make people happy. Because who doesn't like a cake? Who doesn't like a good cake? Cake makes people happy. So maybe what you want to do is figure out how to do what you love, whether it's baking cakes or bonsai trees or whatever it is. Like you have an inkling, like, I would really love to do this, but I don't have everything I need. Mars retrograde can be good for that. Not only does it help you acquire the things that you need, but if you have to tighten your belt in order to get those things or in order to move forward, trust me, right now, Mars retrograde in Cancer will help you tighten your belt. And all of your purchases will be very specific. Like we're trimming the fat here with Mars retrograde in Cancer. The idea, and think about this today, just today as Mars stations, what would I love to do? Maybe you're doing what you love to do. And you know what? God bless you, right? Mars retrograde, how can you do it better? Can you do it better? We all have to improve. We all have to evolve. I mean, even me, like I have to figure out how to evolve. And I've got some plans. I just haven't really put them into use. Mars retrograde, I'm doing it. I am going to put those plans into use so that by the time the first of the year rolls around, we got some new things happening here, right? This is a good opportunity with Mars retrograde. It's cold. It's getting colder. Mars retrograde puts you inside in Cancer. Hunker down and get ready for really the true spring when Mars springs forward through Cancer and comes back into Leo after the first of the year, right? And then you can reassume your creative projects. But guess what? You have all the things that you need in order to take your work or your love or your creative passion to a new level, the first level, or the next level. So today, Mars is conjunct the vertex based on this time in this chart. So are there people that can also help you achieve the thing that you love? Because that's what the vertex is, right? It's about the other person where you are actually kind of unfolding and expressing yourself more through the other, right? And Mars and Leo is creative. It's a very creative aspect. So this is the hunker down. So I'd really want to be here in about 5 months. And then you take care of business back here. Mars is still kind of in a wide trine with Neptune. It'll come back. Like as it falls back into Cancer, it comes back into that trine with them, which is also retrograding as well. And it's a very good aspect for creativity, but it's more about the planning part versus the execution part. And the other thing with Mars retrograde, I talked about this a little bit before, I think it was yesterday. If there's something that you have done before and that you put by the wayside to like sort of assume or invest in another time, that Mars retrograde is a good time to do that. Resurrect old projects, old ideas, reuse things. Cancer and Scorpio are the two signs that are great for repurposing. So this is a fantastic repurposing aspect here. Okay, we have Sun still in a trine with Mars, and Sagittarius tends to be more hopeful. Right, that's a sign where things are bigger, brighter, more expansive. I love Sagittarius time of year. It's just a time of conviviality, celebration, maybe too much celebration, maybe a little bit too much conviviality, but maybe we have to overcompensate a little bit for the last 4 years. Wasn't a lot to celebrate, was there, over the last 4 years? I mean, this is kind of off script a little bit, but do you remember when Joe Biden was telling you if you weren't going to get vaccinated for COVID, it was going to be a long, dark winter? Do you remember that? Oh, yeah. This Mars retrograde in Cancer, not going to be good for the people that tried to scare the shit out of you for the last 4 years or lied to you for the last 4 years. It's not going to be good for them because guess what? Cancer has memory and people are going to remember exactly what was told to them. And they're not going to like it. And this has nothing to do with Trump or his appointees or anything. This is just the people, right? And there was a lot to be boiling mad about with Biden. A lot. The just absolute sloppy pullout from Afghanistan, just sloppy, brutal. The expansion of 2 wars all under Biden. Well, the Democrats love their wars, don't they? Anyway, that Mars retrograde Cancer, people are going to be prickly. It's a prickly nature. It's a prickly affair. Let's talk about Sun-Jupiter opposition. This is an interesting opposition because again, what is Jupiter all about here? It's like it's more. It's like do more, be more. But again, we have another planet that's retrograde. Mars is about to be retrograde. Jupiter is already retrograde. So maybe this is not the time to do more, especially with Mercury. Mercury also retrograde as well. This is a planning time, right? A planning time. The big picture is after these planets go direct. And we're not in that zone until January, right? Like the middle of January, these planets begin to make their forward motion. We got Neptune retrograde, Uranus retrograde. So things are in a holding pattern, or at the very least, or at the very best, they're in some semblance of being reformatted and retooled. And we don't even have like the new presidency and all the people that are going to be there and the policy is going to be shaped. So in some ways, it's kind of hard to plan for a future that hasn't really been settled yet. And also, do we really think that the outgoing administration will go quietly into that good dark night? Probably not. So the retrograde also has a lot of reticence that brings it up to the surface. Like, can I really move forward? Do we feel good about the economy? Can I get a loan? What's the interest rates going? Is it time to sell my house? I mean, all those things are kind of up in the air right now. So this retrograde period is an exploratory period where you should really be looking into your options Like, should you be moving and should you be expanding? Probably not, right? But repairing, re-envisioning, resurrecting, all those things that are related to are very good right now. So you can still be active, but you're active in a sense where you're looking like, I got things around here that I need to do. I need to like redo my office because it's a little sloppy, right? So this is a really good time, especially because the weather's not so great and you can spend this time indoors doing a lot of those things. Let's talk about the other thing, like the square to Saturn. There's frustration here. One of the harder things is feeling like you're not as far along as you'd like to be. And some people, and this is the other side of the coin. Everything's perfect, right? Everything's perfect. You are where you are, and it's a perfect place to be. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you have to be settled for your perfect place. You can say, well, it may be perfect, but even paradise needs a few changes every now and then, right? So this squaring Saturn here, it's like, okay, there's some heavy lifting to do. Like if I want to get over here and expand into something new, right? And Jupiter and Gemini is a whole different ball of wax, right? It's like big, but it's like tiny pieces of big. It's like a million little pieces, Jupiter and Gemini. So we want to aspire towards something. And here we have Saturn coming in and saying there's work to do. If you want to expand, especially with the retrograde, again, you want to figure out, well, what are my steps? What do I need to do? Do I need to talk to an expert? Do I need to get an astrological reading? Hey, see how I slipped that in there? The Saturn square says there's limitations here. You need to really focus and figure out what steps you need to take, right? So this is really important right there, right here, right? So if we want to move forward in a weird way, we have to move backwards a bit. Don't feel like, even if you have to put your dream on hold for a minute, right? Even if you have to put it on hold, put it on pause, it's okay. It's okay to put it on pause. It's not a defeat. I'm telling you, it's not a defeat. It's you saying, not ready. I need more ingredients here. I need more things to put this thing together. So it's not necessarily bad at all. The moon in Capricorn kind of underscores this, right? We have a sense of we can wait. We can wait. It may not be exactly what I want to do, but look, up here in the Northern Hemisphere, wherever you are, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this is a time to go inside. You're going within, and this leads us up to the solstice. And the solstice is really the deep going within phase, right? Like we're going into the real dark. We're already in the dark part of the year. We got there through Scorpio. Right here we have the celestial light of Jupiter, which warms us. It's a distant light, but it still warms us during these times. When we move into Capricorn, now we move into the confines of Saturn. And sometimes it can look very dark in that space. But for now, with the moon in Capricorn, also ambassador of Saturn, we can kind of go there a little bit. We can say, okay, I know what's coming. What's coming is a time where productivity may not be at its ultimate height, right? It's ultimate height. Did I say that right? I think I did. It's early in the morning. So the moon in Capricorn tempers expectations. It tempers the expectations. Coming in today and conjuncting Venus. So this is really good for professional affairs, right? Like if you have to meet with somebody, meet with somebody at work, whether you're here and they're there, or you're here and they're there, this is actually a pretty good day to do that. Take the emotion out of today, right? The moon Venus conjunction, you just take the emotion out of it. We also have Ceres, 29 degrees Capricorn, coming in and trining Uranus, right? If you take the emotion out of things, you can actually kind of turn the tables, flip the script here. So it's not always where I speak fondly and warmly about the moon in Capricorn, but today's one of those days. comes in, sextiles Neptune. Guess what? If you take the emotion out of something, you're meeting with somebody, you might just have an ally by the end of that conversation. Because normally what happens is that people have expectations about how people are going to react in any given situation or conversation. And if you don't adhere to those expectations, meaning you show up differently, then what happens? Everything changes. Everything changes. The entire tableau changes. So today is one of those days where the interpersonal, the tight interpersonal spaces where you take the emotion out of it, it's not a bad thing. Things actually go well. Like more emotion actually comes in. Real emotion, not fake emotion. Right? Because we think of Capricorn as being arid. I mean, think of a sponge. It's just kind of dried up, right? But here with the sextile with Neptune, that sponge gets hydrated. It's a very interesting day in that regard. So don't be afraid to sit down and have meaningful conversations with people, particularly in the workplace. Now, I talked about this the other day with Mercury retrograding and trining Chiron. It's easier to see the other person's side when you have a Mercury Chiron trine. Like you can identify with their vulnerability. You can identify with their uncomfortability. You can identify with their pain. Maybe not so much that you take it on, but you can identify it, right? You can put yourself in the other person's positions or shoes. You can say, you know what? I know exactly how you feel. And guess what? You won't be lying. You won't be lying. You will know how they feel. Because if you really boil it down, within a certain bandwidth, we know how most people would feel, right? We've either had situations that have been similar or situations that we can relate to, situations that we've actually experienced ourselves. So, yeah, I get it. Now, sometimes things are just a little weird and you may not have that person's experience. Nonetheless, you can put yourself in their shoes and say, that's fucking weird. That's just fucking weird. I don't know how you get through it. I don't know how you deal with it. I don't know how you cope. You know why? Most people just want recognition. That's what they want. That's what they want. People want to be recognized. Whatever. As a good parent, right? As a good partner, as somebody who's doing a good job at work, somebody who's got a podcast or a live stream, right? We all want recognition to some degree. And today's one of those days. It's like, yeah, you can see you're going through a very difficult time. I understand it. I get it. I've been there myself. What about what's going on there in the big old wide world? Well, it feels like we're kind of on pause a little bit. When is Cliff High's prediction supposed to come true? Was it yesterday, today? Is this when the aliens land? I don't see any alien aspects here, by the way. Not to my knowledge. Not based on this chart. Black Moon Lilith is in Libra. Let's just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll scoot on over to the star of the day. So my take as an astrologer on Black Moon Lilith is that it is different for women than it is for men. And I've talked about this before, but I'll reiterate it for those of you that are new to the program. And I hope there's somebody new here. It's always nice to have somebody new. Black Moon Lilith for women is how other women view them vis-a-vis projection. Okay. Why is that? Because in the story of Lilith, there are two women, right? There's Lilith and then there is Eve. And Eve didn't really like Lilith, right? Maybe Lilith was a little too curvy. You know what I'm saying? Adam's looking over there. Man, that Lilith looking mighty fine. Ooh. And Eve is like, out. This bitch out of the garden. For women, it's the projection of other women onto you. And it's all based on the sign and what you have going on with Black Moon Lilith. I'm not going to go through every sign but that's how it works, right? For men, it's different. For men, Black Moon Lilith is their unresolved relationships with their mothers, right? So it's a very different experience for both men and women. Also, for women, occasionally, probably more than occasionally, their own mother is entangled in the story of Black Moon Lilith. So today we have Black Moon Lilith absolutely conjunct Vesta. And, you know, in Libra, it's about beauty. And so we've had Black Moon Lilith post-election. And what have we seen? We've seen these women basically vow never to have sex again, or vow never to be in a monogamous relationship again, because they don't want to, you know, give birth to somebody's conservative sperm, right? And Vesta here is the crone, right? It is the crone. So to me, it's like you're some of these women are staring down the prospect of being alone for the rest of their lives, right? And maybe, just maybe, you'll see some of them backtrack a little bit. But on the other side of this, like this, to me, this is also how our society has worshipped at the fountain of youth ever since Madison Avenue became a powerful entity. And Vesta here is the crone, right? And I think we have a very limited and dark view of, and I'll use women as they grow old. And so we have a lot of plastic surgery and augmentation and things like that. And one of the people that's become pretty popular on Twitter lately is Justine Bateman, whom you know from TV, the sister of Jason Bateman. And Justine Bateman has not done any of the Hollywood stuff, right? She's let her hair go gray. There's no, I think maybe she did the lip thing at one point, but that might have been a long time ago. But for the most part, what you see is what you get, right? And I feel like with Black Moon Lilith conjuncting Vesta, there's this feeling like that rawness, that realness has more inherent beauty than fillers and filters and fake. And today's one of those days where women who have invested in fillers, filter, and fake, just today, maybe not just today, but over the course of the next week or so, right? Because of the exactitude of this, they're re-examining it. It's like, is this worth my time? Is this worth my money? And some may say, hell yes, I got all these other women, you know, who I'm competing against, so I got to look good. But others may say no. So, you know what? It's time for me to, age naturally and gracefully. It's an interesting conjunction here between these two, especially today, and how tight they are. All right. Not a lot of water in the sky, but we got Saturn and we got Neptune and we have Juno and Scorpio. That'll carry the day. Okay, let's get into our True Hemp Science Star of the Day. And before I do, let's bring out the banner. And I want to thank everybody once again for being here. So, the sponsor of the show, True Hemp Science, truehempscience.com. You go there and you guess what? You get to check out all of their great, absolutely great CBD offerings. Oh, my prop is on the floor. Hold on. See, I was going to be lazy and not bend over and get the prop, but here we go. There it is, right there. That's your Starlight, and there are 2 gummies of this worth the price of admission, and also you'll get at least 1 dropper of something very cool. This one is Doze, and when you spend $100 or more, you get a free goodie bag. Now there may be more in there. But these are 2 examples of what you get. $150 more gets you free shipping. Always a 30-day money-back guarantee. TrueHempScience.com, your one-stop shop for all things CBD related. Okay, let's get into our star of the day. Today's star of the day was interesting, to say the least. So today's star of the day is Franco. Yes, Franco. Franco is one of the more fascinating figures of the 20th century. This guy, first of all, if you look at these characters, like from World War I to World War II, you've got people like Franco, you've got Mussolini, you've got Hitler, you've got Stalin, you've got Lenin, you've got Churchill, you've got de Gaulle, you have all these really interesting, larger than life characters. And the one who is the largest in some ways, although the one who history has been in many ways the most kind to, is Franco. Because Franco comes in, and it's the Spanish Civil War, and he sides on the side of the king, right? Like Spain is a monarchy, and they're dealing with the communists. The communists want to basically turn Spain into Russia, the Soviet Union. So there's a war between the monarchy and the revolutionaries, right? So Franco is a very important part of that war. He's all in. He's all in on the king. One of the versions of Ferdinand, and then he becomes. Spain is victorious, right? The monarchy defeats. It's a rare instance, by the way, where the communists are defeated. They're routed. And along the way, it shifts from being a monarchy to, in some ways, a tyranny. There's no other, I mean, there's another way that we can describe Franco's role, because he's not a typical tyrant, right? But he seizes power. I believe the king dies, if I'm not mistaken, in a very weird plane crash. So there is no royalty. And so Franco, being one of the higher ranking generals, takes over. He seizes control of the government. And he becomes essentially a dictator. But what's fascinating is that Spain somehow manages to kind of navigate around World War II, right? Like Italy's in it, France is in it, all these other countries, but Spain somehow manages to sort of stay out of the fray, which is fascinating, right? Franco doesn't commit really to the Axis. He's not going to jump into bed with Germany and Japan and Italy. Spain is going to be kind of Switzerland South in a lot of ways. Why? Because Franco is much more interested in Spain than any alliances. And so while all these other countries are going through this kind of chaos and confusion, and borders are redrawn, and they go from things like like the oligarchy of these royal families, Spain doesn't do that. Spain is working on Spain, and Franco does a couple things. Number one, he gets rid of the communists. They are terrified of Franco because of what he did to them. Not just them losing, but how they lost. If you were a communist in Spain and you were on the wrong end of that war, your life was not easy, right? But not only that, he's very proud of this. He got rid of the Freemasons. So Franco takes Spain into a very interesting direction post-war. And he's the ruler for quite a long time. And under his rule, Spain becomes one of the most prosperous countries in Europe. It really turns its economy around. It's a kind of an amazing success. Nobody really talks about it, right? Nobody really talks about Franco's rule because they don't want to give people the idea that there could be one guy who has the interest of the people that could actually be successful. He's also a devout Catholic. So that enters into it. So when I look at his chart, I'm like, okay, like, is there a tyrant in here? Is there, the iron will of steel, like somebody like Mussolini or Stalin or Hitler? And the answer to that is yes and no, right? First of all, he's got the sun in Sag, so he's a reformer. And his reformation is he is going to link Spain to the Catholic Church. And it is going to be, to some extent, this weird version of like a monarchical theocracy, even though he's not from the royal bloodline. And he's got a trine with Jupiter in Aries. So he can be forceful, right? And then this Jupiter retrograde is interesting. To me, the Jupiter retrograde really reflects itself in the non-participation in a lot of ways in World War II. We're going to isolate. We're going to work on our country. We're not in this. We're not going to commit to France and England and the United States and Russia. We're not going to commit to Germany, right? So the retrograde Jupiter is interesting here. So he can be very forceful and very dominant if he wants to be, right? But the retrograde has, to me, again, it's this kind of more isolationist view or more isolationist position that Spain takes on. Now, when you see the moon and Neptune at the top of the chart, it also gives Franco kind of like, when you look at this face, right? When you look at the face and you see pictures of Franco, he's soft. He's a Virgo rising, right? And so he's got a lot of high ideals and expectations to live up to on a personal level. But whenever you see pictures of him, he's kind of soft looking. He doesn't have that, that kind of laser beam eye effect of Mussolini. He doesn't have the sort of, the kind of stern and droopy, but, kind of mesmeric effect of Hitler. He doesn't have that kind of broad, kind of grounded, earthy, yet, what's the word I'm looking for? Criminal appeal, right, of Stalin, right? He doesn't have any of that. Like he looks soft. He looks refined. And granted, this is an older picture here, but to me, this is like Virgo rising, right? Look at it. Look at the picture. Like it's a fucking Virgo rising picture, if you ask me. Everything's perfect. And he's got this moon Neptune conjunction. This is what, a lot of ways, this is also what he shows the world. And it is quite feminine, actually. And when we think of the moon, we also think of like the home and the homeland, things like that, right? So Franco, in this regard, is also very much connected to the church and religion with Neptune in the 9th house. So he's reestablishing Spain and its connection to the church. Right. It's very fascinating. And I would say that Franco is probably a religious man, also a man that's filled with doubt. For all of the courage and the conviction of this Sun Jupiter trine, he's got Mars in Pisces, and it's in the 6th house, which is going to be, very practical and functional, right? But he has doubt. His Mars squares Neptune. So I think if somebody who has a lot of doubt, they also have to have equal amounts of faith to, quell the doubt. Now, he could be a tyrant, though. I can tell you that. Like, if he needed to, get rid of you, Franco, I think, could do it. He's got that Sun-Mars square, right? Don't piss this guy off. And especially Mars and Pisces, he could probably justify getting rid of the detritus and the scum because, well, it's God's will, right? Like, if you don't match up to whatever kind of version of leading a Catholic or pious life, right? He doesn't have any problem. I don't think he has any problem getting rid of people. That, to me, that's that Mars square to the sun. And he has Mercury down here in the 4th house, and it's retrograde in Capricorn. But it's also trining Chiron. He's good at solving problems. And again, like I said, during his reign, Spain was incredibly successful from an industrial standpoint. Saturn in Libra in the 1st house, right? So he's got Saturn here. And that's the first planet we see in his chart. So he's disciplined. He's rigorous with his discipline. And Saturn trines Neptune. It trines him. It's an interesting chart. It's not a chart where you look and go, thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening indeed, right? This is a chart where this guy brings stability. Like, this is stability. The Saturn trine Neptune. This is the church and the state. He's the personification of the church and the state, being one, because this is what he did. He brought the two together, right? Saturn trine Moon. And he's a nationalist, right? He's getting people to be in love with Spain. He's got Venus in Libra, so he's pretty good at negotiating, somewhat fair, and he's got this South Node. He just can't go, way off the map here, right? Where's that South Node? Venus in Scorpio. He's got Venus in Scorpio. My bad. It's in Scorpio. Saturn's in Libra. Yes. Venus in Scorpio conjunct the South Node. He still has this, what's the word I'm looking for? This debt, right? He has this debt to bring things into balance. And he has Uranus in the 2nd house. So his methodology is very different, right? He needs to be like Uranus in the 2nd house is kind of radical. It's like, we're going to reset everything. And then Uranus has that in conjunct. So the thing about this Uranus for Franco is that I don't think everybody understood what he was doing at certain points in time. But this is a very interesting person and a very interesting chart. I wouldn't want to cross this guy because he would certainly have the religious and moral justification for fucking getting rid of you. But on the other hand, he also has a high degree of softness in some ways. So he's got this interesting blend of being kind of tyrannical, but also compassionate. And I also think what's fascinating is that during his very long reign, whether it was through respect, love, or fear, nobody fucked with him, right? Spain was pretty much left alone. Now, after he steps down, because he's ill, and eventually he dies not long after that, Spain holds elections, and who do they fucking elect? They elect a communist. So it's like they were still there, but they were just waiting. They were waiting for the old man to go, because there was still this sense that if you were going to cross him, it was not going to end well for you. Not only that, but there had been, I would say, a very kind of bitter renunciation of communism after the Spanish Civil War. But by the time we get into the 60s and eventually when Franco steps down, a lot of that bitterness is kind of, sort of leached away. And then you have this whole new generation that is really into this idea of socialism. It's hip, it's cool, right? It's mod, it's the new thing. So the reapproachment of it becomes much easier at that time. So your star of the day, it's a very interesting, enigmatic, and probably one of the most successful tyrants in history, Franco from Spain. Salute. All right, that does it for today's show. Thank you, one and all, for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. And treat each other well. God bless. Have a great day. Come join us over in 15 minutes. Links are in the show notes for both Boxcast and Rumble. It is a continuation of yesterday's show, the exploration of Nietzsche, power, Donald Trump, And today we get into the inheritors of Nietzsche's tradition. You will be quite surprised when I put the two together. Until tomorrow, take care and bye for now.